What is up, guys? So it has been a while since I have done this whole YouTube thing. I actually started to really not like it. It was something that I thought about trying, so I tried it and just kind of realized it wasn't for me. It wasn't something that fueled my fire. It wasn't something that I got up and was like, oh, I get to YouTube today. It felt like more of a chore. It felt like something I had to do. And so I decided to take a step back from it and to really find what I enjoyed, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I am here. This is something that a lot of people reached out to me about because I put a lot of it on my Instagram, which is right there. And so I wanted to bring it on here just because it is so much information and it is very hard to put into one post, into one quick story. It is a lot. So I wanted to talk about how I got through my depression. But first thing is something I should say is that I have struggled with depression my whole life. It is something that runs in my family. Growing up, I was that kid that I hated sleepovers. I would be crying, begging to go home because I would be so overwhelmed being with that many people for that long. And I'm not exaggerating. I never liked sleepovers. They had to be at my house because it was where I was comfortable. P.S. There is construction going on outside my house, so if that's all you can hear, I am so sorry. But yeah, I have always struggled with depression. I've always struggled being around a lot of people. I have always struggled with just being in big situations with a lot of people that is out of my comfort zone. And so I always was that kid that I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to stay home. I wanted to be on my couch. I wanted to be by myself. I did not have a whole ton of friends. People thought I was weird. My parents thought I was weird just because that's what I've always been. That's how I was, and they didn't see it as normal. They saw it as like I was antisocial, but no, in reality, I've just always struggled with depression, and that caused me to be the odd person out. That caused me to be the black sheep in the family, and so it really built up to this massive battle of depression that I had this past January of 2018. It actually started in about December 2017 is when it started getting really bad, but January is when it was like the absolute worst. It was very hard for me. I did struggle with thoughts of suicide. I did struggle with just being in public in general. I could not reach out to people as much as I tried. It was very, very hard for me. I really struggled, and I keep saying that, but unless you've dealt with depression, if you've dealt with it, you understand in some way. If you haven't, it's not something that you can understand, because a lot of people are like, oh, just reach out and talk to somebody. It's really not that easy, especially since my whole life I was deemed weird and out of place and everything because of having this, and it made it that much harder because in my mind it's, oh, I'm weird, I'm crazy, nobody's going to want to help me, nobody's going to understand, and so it made it very hard for me. So I put it on Instagram. I was like, all right, what questions do y'all have about depression? And I got two. Literally everybody asked the same two questions. And so I'm gonna go through those. They will be some lengthy answers, but they are my take on it, and it's what I had to do for myself. Another thing is I am not a doctor. I do not have any kind of certification, education, anything in psychology or anything to that matter. So again, this is stuff that I personally did, stuff that I found worked best for me. And so if it doesn't work for you, this is not me as a doctor telling you these things. This is me just as a normal human being who went through this and what steps I had to take to better myself and get myself out of that situation. So if you watch this and you do want help, there are different options. There are different people you can reach out to. Just know that I am not a doctor in this. I do not have any kind of degree in this. So yes, I had to say that because I know some people are going to be like, oh, I tried, it didn't work, and da-da-da-da. I'm sorry, don't sue me. Okay, but as always, I have my notes, so that's why I look down. But the first question I got is, did you take any drugs? Did you take any medication? And the answer is no, I did not take any prescribed medication. So let me explain that a little bit. For most of December and some of January, I drank a lot. Like, that was my form of medication. I drank very heavily. I was going out every weekend, sometimes 3 nights a week. I didn't really enjoy going out. I just enjoyed getting wasted. Like, I was to that point where that's what I needed to do for myself. I was drinking to the point where I couldn't really remember anything. I was drinking to the point where I didn't feel anything. That was the goal, is I didn't want to feel anything inside. But luckily, both of my parents are severe alcoholics. And so I say that luckily because it helped me to realize what I was doing. I saw what I was doing. I saw the road I was going down. I saw the steps I was taking, and I was like, dude, I have always told myself I am not gonna end up like my parents. Therefore, this has to change. Like, I have to stop drinking. But what came with drinking is I actually ended up losing all of my friends. They didn't want to hang out with me. They didn't want to talk to me. I got kicked out of a group chat. Like, I was the odd person out again. And so that set me back a little bit more. And that's when January got really hard for me. And I know it happened actually pretty close to after New Year's. So I was to that point where I hated who I was, and I hated what I was doing, and I hated what I was going through, and there was just so much hatred in my heart that I was like, okay, I have to change something. But of course, that's not how depression works. It just got worse and worse because I was like, oh, poor pitiful me, I'm depressed, I'm struggling, all these different things. And so yes, I drank. I did start slowing down about mid-January, but I also smoke. I do smoke marijuana as time to time. I have taken CBD, and honestly, those did help. I only use marijuana in the evenings when I'm going to bed because it would be very hard for me to go to sleep because my mind just wouldn't turn off. And so I would use that in the evening, and then every now and then I tried CBD, which did help with anxiety, not so much the depression side of things, but it would just help me feel a little bit more calm and at peace rather than constantly like freaking out, looking around, what's going on, oh my gosh, I can't stand being in public, things like that. So those are the drugs that I went through. Again, alcohol, which did not help, I don't suggest it. And then the THC and CBD oils. And then I did, like I said, I did not take anything prescribed. I did not really go to a true psychologist. I actually just talked to somebody in a church, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then just really working on it on my own. I am a very, I do stuff personally. That's just how I work. I've always had a hard time reaching out to people. And so this is stuff that I worked through by myself. And then the second question is just straight up, what did you do? How did you get out of it? What steps did you take? And so the first thing I did was I had to realize what I was going through. So I had to realize that there was nothing wrong with me is the first thing, is there's absolutely nothing wrong with you when you go through depression. Nothing. You are not crazy. You are not weird. I don't know why I want to cry right now. There is nothing wrong with you for going through a depression. Nothing. You are a human, and that is something that some humans go through, and maybe not all, and maybe people don't understand, but that's okay because this has been given to you for a reason. Some of these other people might not be able to handle it, but you can. And so there's nothing wrong with going through depression. There's nothing. But also realizing on the other side that, okay, I am struggling with depression, and this is something that I don't want to struggle with anymore. And so those were two big things I had to realize, because for my whole life, it was always something was wrong with me for having depression. Something was wrong with me for being the way I was. And I had to realize, and it took a lot of time for me to realize there's nothing wrong with me. This is who I am as a person. This is who I am. This is who God has made me. This is something that I was made to struggle with because some people can't. And so that was the very first thing I had to realize. And then I had to realize that I couldn't beat myself up for it, because there would be days where I was like, I can't believe I'm dealing with this. I hate myself for having this. How could I have this? And I had to realize that, it's okay. It is able to be worked through. That, again, there's nothing wrong with me, and that I can't be mad at myself for my brain being wired this way, because it's who I am. I cannot be upset by the way of how I was made, by how the great creator, by how God made me. And then the last thing I had to realize was expectations that I had about myself, about people, about life. I had to let these things go. I am a huge perfectionist. If you know me, if it is not 100% perfect, I hate it. That is a flaw that I have, and I had to let go of a lot of expectations about myself. First of all, the most important was I had to be perfect. I had to be on point. I had to do everything the exact way that it needs to be done. And I had to let go of that. I had to realize that I couldn't be perfect at all times, that I am not perfect at all times, that nobody is perfect at all times. I had to let go of expectations of my family. If you have watched other videos or anything on Instagram, you know that I am not close with my family as much as I would love to be, as much as I pray for it. I'm just not. Again, I've always been what feels like the black sheep of the family. I don't feel very understood within my family. I am very different. And that was something I had to let go of, was expectations of my family, because again, they've never understood who I am as a person, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how it is. That's just the family I was born into. And so I had to let go of all of these things I thought the way they had to be. I had to let go of the expectations of the way my family is supposed to be. I had to let go of expectations of how I'm supposed to be, of how my relationships are supposed to be, how my work is supposed to be, how my life is supposed to be. I had to let go of all of these expectations and just be like, you know what? Whatever's meant to be is gonna be, and I'm gonna let it come to me, and I'm just going to accept it how it is. I'm gonna stop forcing things. I'm gonna stop expecting things to be a certain way, because 9 times out of 10, we all know we expect this, we get this. So I had to let go of those expectations. And then second, reach out and be vocal. Like I said, I did not reach out to psychologists. I did reach out to people that I trusted, people that I knew would give me an outside perspective. And one of these people is a woman that is extremely close to me. She actually, I kind of consider her my mom. She was my gymnastics coach growing up. I worked for her when I was 16. We stay in touch. So I would reach out to her for advice. I reached out to some people within the church. Just, hey, pray for me, things like that. And at the time I was not very religious. I still was struggling, and do I even believe in God? But it was just something that was placed on my heart. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, reach out and be vocal. And again, I know this is the hardest part for a lot of us. And some people, like I said, are just like, oh, just talk to somebody. But it's not that easy. But guys, it helps. It helps to know you are not alone in what you are going through. There are people that understand. There are people that want to help. There are people that want to be there and hold your hand through the process. And there are people that are going to accept you exactly how you are, depression and all, and they're gonna love the crap out of you anyways. And so reach out. And another thing is, just because, let's say you go through this depression and people don't understand, you lose friends, they aren't your friends. That's something I had to realize is, they don't understand that you can't just reach out. It's not that easy. It's not, oh, hey, by the way, I'm depressed. I need you to come love me. It's, okay, I have to keep this to myself because they're gonna think I'm freaking crazy. And so if you lose friends over it, they suck. Like that's literally all I have to say about that. That was something that took me a while to learn, was that they just, to me, that's not a true friend, because I've had a close friend who also has struggled with depression, and I kind of knew what was going on. I knew she was having a hard time. So instead of sitting there and waiting for her to reach out to me, all it took was a simple message. Hey, I love you. You are in my thoughts. You are in my prayers. If you need anything, I'm here. And it's that simple, and knowing that that little thing could help her in the end, letting her know she's not alone. Because as a true friend, that's what I want for her. I don't want her to feel alone in this. If she needs alone time, awesome. I'm gonna give that to her, but I'm gonna let her know, hey, I'm here for you in the end. If you need anything at all, I am here. I am on your side. Sorry. So reach out, but reach out to people who are gonna give you an outside perspective. Don't reach out to people that are like your closest friends, stuff like that, just because, I shouldn't say don't, but just be considerate of who you're reaching out to, because sometimes the close friends might not understand, and they're literally just gonna be like, well, why can't you just get over it? So just be aware of who you're reaching out to, or even if just talking about it, be like, hey, you know what, I'm really struggling. Can you just sit with me tonight? We don't have to talk, nothing, just let people that you care about know what's going on, and ask for their patience. That's really big. People need to be patient and know that if they're sitting here and they're like, oh, how dare you, blah, 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 drop them. Which brings me to my next point. Cleanse out your life. Clean it out. Whenever I really started struggling with this depression, I legit cleaned house. I lost all my friends, which was kind of by choice, because I realized that one, they were the reason which it wasn't completely them. It was my choice to actually go. But they were the reason I was going out drinking every single night. They were the reason I was acting the way I didn't like to act. They were a big reason in just a lot of things that were contributing to the depression. And so I was like, it's gotta go. I have to drop these people. I love them, I care about them, but I'm gonna have to love them from a distance, because it's harming me. And so I dropped almost all my friends. Sorry, there's something in my eye. But I dropped almost all of my friends. I just was like, all right, we're done. I straight up disappeared, and it was something that I had to do. I knew that if I tried to explain what was going on, a lot of them wouldn't understand, and actually I ended up right about that. I had to end up explaining it to them not too long ago, and straight up they didn't understand, and that's fine, you know, because not everyone has struggled with it. Not everyone will understand. Dropped all my friends. I quit my job because I cried every day I had to go in. I legit hated it. I didn't hate the people. Definitely I was coaching gymnastics. I did not hate the children. I did not hate anybody I worked with. I just was not happy. It was not where I needed to be. I felt very out of control when I was there, and I'm a controlling person. As much as I don't like that, I did not like having that much out of my control for that big of a period of my day. It was legit stressing me out all the time. And so I had to quit. I had to. Again, I was crying every day I was going in. I knew I could not continue working there. And, you know, I still go in from time to time. I still talk to people that work there here and there. I love them. I respect them. It was just something I could not do personally. Quit my job, lost my friends. I spent some time alone. Like, I straight up did a complete 180, and that did contribute just a little bit to the depression, was being that alone for a little while. But it's also something I needed. I needed to get rid of these things that were contributing to this depression. You know, whenever people are sitting here pushing these things on you, or, you know, like they know something's wrong, but they don't really care to ask. I want true friends, and I want friends that care about me on the inside, not just, oh, are you going to the gym? Oh, are you going out to party with us? Like, hey, what's in your heart? What can I pray for you for? That's what I want out of a friendship. And I've actually am very honored to be able to start to find people that way. It makes me extremely happy. So yeah, I cleansed out my life. I realized that, you know, I love my family, but I can't be upset that I have the family I have. That was another thing I had to do. I had to realize that I just have to distance myself from them, and I have to, again, love them from a distance also. So I straight up cleaned house, and it was just what I had to do, and it helped. I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders, and I know some people say that, but I actually felt lighter. Like, my soul was lighter, my thoughts felt a little bit easier. So I knew I was on the right step, or on the right path. And then the next step I took was I had to realize what made me happy. Like, what did I enjoy? What would make me smile? What would make me forget about what I was going through? Because not everybody's the same. Some people enjoy, I don't know, doing certain things that make them happy. Maybe going out and drinking makes some people happy. You know, maybe party, I don't know. But for me, I had to find what makes me happy. And I did find out that sitting down and reading a book and having a hot cup of tea or coffee or whatever, that made me happy. Like, I would truly enjoy my time doing that. Going to the gym by myself and just plugging in my headphones and just zoning out, that made me happy. Running my own business, becoming an online coach, that made me happy. Kind of how I mentioned YouTube, I realized I didn't like it. It was something I was forcing on myself, and I let it go. I had to let go of Instagram for a while because it was not making me happy. It was I was comparing myself to everybody's highlight reels, and it really, really put me in a deeper place. So I had to let it go for a little while. But then I realized what kind of posts on my Instagram made me happy. You know, what accounts make me happy, things like that. What people make me happy. What people do I actually enjoy being around because they love me for me? You know, things like that. I had to find what truly made me happy. And guys, this does take a little while. It did take a lot of deep thought. It did take a lot of, I don't like to call it meditation because I don't meditate, honestly, but I had to really focus on just be aware of my emotions, be aware how I felt afterwards, be aware how I felt beforehand. If it was one of those situations where I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do this. This does not seem okay. Like, wanting to cry, I cry a lot. If I felt like I had to cry, you know, whatever, I would be aware of that, and I would still go try it, because sometimes, you know, it is just that fact of getting out of the comfort zone. And then I would realize how I feel afterwards. Did I feel light and happy? Did I feel really upset? Did I still feel like crying? Was I angry for some reason? How did I feel before and after? How did I feel during? Did I enjoy what I was doing? Did I have fun? Did I like the people I was with? Finding, again, what makes you happy. And it doesn't have to be people, it can be things. Maybe you enjoy knitting. Maybe you enjoy, there's a class you want to join. Maybe, you know, there's something you want to do. Maybe there's something you want to start, like a business or a book or whatever. Find what makes you happy and go for it. And don't care who it makes happy, because in the end of the day, you have to be happy, you know, because this state of depression, no one's happy in a state of depression, you know, that's like the definition of it. but you can't be there. Like, we don't want to be there forever. You know, I haven't met anybody that wants to stay in a depression forever. So finding what truly makes you happy. And then also on the opposite side, what are the triggers that don't make you happy? Which does kind of go hand in hand with the cleaning things out, but like realizing, what do I need to let go of to start to enjoy my life? And that's one of them, you know, is like, hey, I don't enjoy doing this. I gotta let it go. Hey, I freaking hate my job. I'm gonna let it go, but I'm gonna go start this company because I love it. So just make yourself happy, be happy, and find what makes you happy, find who makes you happy. And not that happiness depends on people, but there are certain vibes people give off, and some people make you feel better, some people don't. So just being aware of that. And then the last thing is actually church. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not a religious person. And I actually kind of want to do a video on that also. I was not a religious person, and I'll talk about that later, but I was not. I grew up in church, attempted to, I just never cared for it. I always believed in God in somewhat, but I wasn't a religious person. I didn't care to go to church, nothing like that. But January, I had this very deep nagging feeling, hey, you gotta go to church. Like, it's something you have to try. And so I was like, all right, like, let's do it. We are gonna go to church. So I started going to church. I actually went to a church, was terrified of it. All of a sudden I got the person's like yelling things are demonic and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is why I don't go to church. And so I got scared off a little bit. I stopped trying for a few weeks, and then I'm going through Instagram, and this girl posted she was at this church that I've been thinking about going to. I was like, all right, let's go, bro. Like, I was like, hey, like, do you like your church? She's like, yeah, you have to come with me. I didn't know her, which was crazy, but she was like, yeah, you have to come with me. Like, it's awesome. So I met her up there, and I felt at home. Like, I was like, this is it. Like, I love it. So we started going more and more, and then I truly just was in awe. And I had never felt that kind of peace before, not even just at church, but away from church. I really started to feel like everything that had happened in my past and everything that I am is okay. And, you know, learning that God created me the way I am for a reason, and that He loves me the way I am no matter what, that put a very big peace within my heart, because I knew that, you know, I'm created this way and I'm loved this way, and I am needed to be this way. And so that really started to put things in perspective for me. And that's when I really truly started to get out of that depression. I had already started working towards it. I had been feeling better, but you can just say this is like the icing on the cake. This was like the, okay, like I'm okay. You know, I might struggle here and there, which I do. Like this past week, I have been struggling. But, you know, just reminding myself of, one, these things that I've told y'all, and two, you know, that God loves me and He loves all the parts of my heart, even the ones that I don't like, and that it's okay to be who I am, and it's okay to love what I love, and it's okay to just be me, and it's okay to just be the child that God's created me to be. And so, honestly, going to church, and I know some of y'all are like, oh, seriously, church? Like, yes, guys, try it. Don't knock it till you try it. If you find the right church, you'll know, you'll understand, you'll realize what you're in. I have gone to those churches that were very judgmental, extremely, as you can see. So I have this, I'll just tell y'all a quick story. Sorry, I'm in pain. Okay, so this tattoo is obviously on my chest, and I had this like V-neck thing on, and I'm at church, and they're like, oh, turn around, say hi to people, because I'm like, guys, I'm like tatted up, okay? Like I have tattoos, it happens. And so, they're not tatted up, I have a decent amount of tattoos. Anyways, so this lady, this old lady, like turns around to shake my hand, so I like reach for her. She reaches past my hand and starts like rubbing on my chest. And she's like, oh my gosh, I was like so mad, but I was laughing. She's like rubbing it, and she's like, I hope that's not permanent. And I was like, why are you touching me, lady? Like, don't touch me. Like, I don't know you like that. And she's like, how could you do that to the body that God gave you? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm done. You know what? I'm here. And I'm like 19, 20-ish. I was like, I'm done. Nope, not doing this. I'm not going to sit here and be judged in a place that I'm not supposed to be judged. So I stopped going to church till I'm 24, I'll be 25 next week, homies, woo, August 3rd, Leo babies. But so 4 years I didn't go to church, and then again, like I said, that first church I went to the guy's literally like, this is demonic, you don't do it. And I was like, that's what I didn't want to hear, you know? And so it did take time, and it did realize that not all churches are like that. I go to Gateway, I live in Texas, I go to Gateway Church, and I am so in love. Like, their biggest thing is teaching us that we are all the same, that God loves all of us the same, that we all have walked a different path, and that's okay. You know, it's okay if you come from the background I've come from, or if it's okay if you've grown up in a Christian home your whole life. No matter where you come from, it's okay. And that God's gonna love you anyways, and that no matter what you do, God's not gonna stop loving us, you know? And they're very big on teaching that. They are always trying to teach us that, hey, you are loved, you are made of love, nothing you can do can scare off the creator of the earth. And that's the kind of message I wanted. I wanted a positive, uplifting message. That's what I was looking for, and that's what I get every single week that I go. And so, honestly, yes, finding a church made me feel so at peace, and it made me feel so in awe. And so, yeah, that's what I got for y'all. If you enjoyed it, or if you have any kind of questions or comments, whatever, put them down below, and I will answer them ASAP. If you enjoyed this, and if there's more things you want me to talk about when it comes to my mental health, or when it comes to Christianity, or anything, you can just drop them down below. I have debated doing more YouTube videos, but more like this. As much as I love fitness, I don't want my life to revolve around fitness 24/7. So I want to do more videos this way, I'm thinking. Not set in stone yet, but yes. If you enjoy videos like this, and if there are more topics you want me to talk about, let your girl know in the box down below. I'm also going to link a website called BetterHelp, I believe, and it's just an online therapist. They can talk to you about anything. I believe you can look for certain religious beliefs, you can, do whatever, but it's in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go see anybody face to face. I've been told it's a lot cheaper than going in person also. And so it's a great option, guys. It's completely anonymous. And I've talked to a lot of people that have used it, and they all love it. I have clients that use it, and they love it. So I'll put that down below in the box. And yeah, that is all I have. I love you guys. Thank you so much if you have made it to this point. And if you watched this, go to my Instagram and let me know that you watched it. That way I can thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I do truly appreciate all of you that took this time. So yes, I love you guys. Oh, that's wrong. I love you guys, and I will see y'all in the next video possibly. Bye!